And good evening, YouTube. It's the old soldier coming at you from Robinson County, North Carolina on a cold, cold day. It's been cold and windy here all day long. Temperature, I guess Friday. Yeah, Friday night took a dip. And I think it's supposed to be below freezing every night this week up until about Thursday. So yeah, winter's finally arrived at the old soldier's doorstep. Hope everybody's doing okay tonight. Warsaw, I see you are first. How you doing, buddy? Let's see who else pops up here in a minute. Get a few beers going and read a couple poems, talk about a little bit of stuff, and call it an evening. But today's definitely wasn't as eventful as I thought it was going to turn out to be, which is actually on a good note. There's a lot of tension and apprehension about Virginia today, specifically Richmond, state capital. Luke Dog, what's going on, brother? But it didn't really amount to what the media thought it was going to be. And it turned out to be a very peaceful event. Warsaw, what's going on, bud? And then there was your Martin Luther King Day speeches and events that were going on. And honestly, it just wasn't what it has been in the past. Interesting. It's actually, for the most part, kind of a dull and mundane day. For me, it was a day off. I don't know about everybody else, but it was a day off for me. And I pretty much didn't do nothing. I cleaned the pistol. About it. Did some shooting yesterday, so I had to clean the pistol after shooting. So yeah. Talking about firearms. Got upset the other day. I took apart my carbine and finally took apart the extractor out of my bolt. Did not realize what a pickle that was. I want to order a special tool just to get that bolt back together. So I need to take it out to the range this week and test fire it and make sure that I didn't permanently damage any of the components. I'd hate to have to buy another bolt for that thing. But you live and you learn. But I'm glad I did take the extractor apart. That thing was filthy beyond recognition. That might have been why some of my rounds were hanging up. Hello, Miss Vanessa. How are you, young lady? Good to have you with us tonight. You still got a lot of snow up your way, Vanessa? You know, the Northeast was getting pretty hammered last week. We haven't had no snow here, but of course, it really hadn't been cold enough for any. But after this week, it might be. I think here in North Carolina, or the east part of North Carolina, we might get some in February, maybe early March. 4 inches more than we got. Hey, Free Spirit. Well, Warsaw, I mean, the old adage, you can't satisfy 100% of the people 100% of the time. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I didn't even, SHOT Show, I don't even know what happened with SHOT Show. I don't keep up with SHOT Show. I just don't watch that, There's one or two people that go that I'll follow them on Instagram. As far as watching SHOT Show itself, I'm neither for or against. But, Virginia turned out to be peaceful, which is what it needed to be. It was just all, and I hate to say this, the state governor of Virginia, that dipstick, really needs to be charged with inciting violence because he had a lot of people worried over nothing. Well, Warsaw, the only way you can be effective on that is to move to the state and become a part of their legislative process. Outside of that, you can support the people that live there if they're and there are legal fights that are coming. We had an old Kyle. What's going on? Maybe, and Kyle, you can attest to this. Hey, Keith, good to see you, my friend. And Keith, you can attest to it too. You can only influence what's around you, and you do the best you can with that. And Warsaw, you're right. It is scary. And I'm one state south of there, and my state has a governor that would, if he could, would combine with Virginia on this. Our current governor is corrupt. He's vile. He's going to ruin this state if he's reelected. Well, Warsaw, some states restore convicted felons' voting rights. North Carolina is one of them. But they have to have completed their debt to society, i.e., any jail time and probation or parole. Once they've met those terms, they can have their voting rights restored. And I think that's, in some way, that's, if we're going to say that prison is where someone goes and pays their debt to society for committing crimes, when they come out, there should be a certain measure of the rights restored. Voting should be one of them. But there again, every state needs to decide that. But anyway, enough of that, I guess, for right now. Like I said, remember, well, one, I want to remember the police officers in Hawaii that were killed. We need to remember them and their families. Also, week before last, 2 soldiers from Fort Bragg were killed in Afghanistan. I want to say there was another one mentioned here recently killed in Afghanistan. And I just want to take time to remember them. Yeah, Vanessa, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think it shouldn't be something automatic either. I think they have to apply for it, just to make sure, but yeah, once their debt is paid to society, they should have that option to have those restored to them. And honestly, as far as I had this conversation before, and it's just my opinion, if someone was sent to prison for nonviolent, or what we call white collar crimes, they ought to be able to have their right to own a firearm restored, not just black powder. Because, like, I think Alaska, I want to say North Carolina too, and there's several other states that a convicted felon can own and possess black powder firearms. And there's a guy on YouTube that he's kind of in the know. And I cannot remember his name. He's got a YouTube channel, but he gives advice on that, as he himself is an ex felon and knows the ins and outs of what they can do with black powder firearms. Oh, what I'm saying is when they walk out to prison, they need to let them know, I want my stuff restored. That way, the felon knows he's got it back, and the state knows he's got it back. That way, when he goes to the voting booth and they say, "Hey, well, nope, right here, I did my time. Here's my certificate they gave me." That way, it keeps and then keeps him from showing up somewhere and saying, "Well, it's automatic." Here, I did what I did. My time served. I've got proof that I can vote again. That's what I mean by apply. When they get ready, make sure they make their, they submit to they can get all their stuff at one time, not having to wait, whatever down the line. Maybe I wasn't too clear on that, but that's what I meant by that. All right. Well, Keith, I agree. That's what we're kind of talking about. But they need to make sure they apply that way. They get the proof when they walk out the door that day. Don't give them the impression that it's automatic from the moment they come out. That way, it protects them when they show up to these places. Because I know in North Carolina, I think they have to get I want to say they have to get a certificate. They get something that states that their voting rights been restored. I don't know all the processes, But that way they've got proof that, hey, I did my time. I've got my rights restored. Leave me alone about it. But, well, Warsaw, it's hard to make that work as well, because circumstances being what circumstances are. Part of why some are repeat is because when they do get out, they got a, what's the word? Somebody help me. What's the word? Like stigma attached to them. Whether it's a fair stigma or an unfair stigma, they've got a stigma attached to them. I kind of go with that, Vanessa, about the pedophiles and the rapists. But my thing is like nonviolent offenders. I don't see why they can't have their firearms rights restored. But that's a debate for another time with legislators. I mean, that's where it's going to have to go to. But at the same token, I think too, though, a lot of prisons, and every state's a little different. Some, the day they get there, they can already, some of them, they already let them start going to school and other things. Others, well, if you got a 10-year sentence, you're going to have to do 3 years of this sentence before you can get into these programs that'll help you get skills when you get out. That's the other thing. I think the prison system needs to be reformed. They go to jail to be punished for their crimes, but also there needs to be a measure of reform, but it shouldn't be automatic. That they need to earn that privilege as well. But anyway, like I said, that's just a little side note on things that are going on. But like I said, today we're going to honor the memory of these service members that have given their last full measure. The police officers in Hawaii. That kind of ties into 2A too, because Hawaii's got some of the strictest gun laws of any of the states in the union. And I don't know the full breadth of what happened there, but need to remember those police officers. So we're going to jump right into it. Our first poem of the evening, and it's titled "A Flag Folded," and it goes to read: "Salute it in the morning when raised at reveille, and salute it when the national anthem is played. Taught to respect it and salute it when it passed by, when on parade, or when it was raised. Guarded I have, with my life if need be. Protect it, defend it, whatever the cost may be. Many a brother and sister I have lost, draped over them our nation's colors. Brought home, taken to a place of final rest, laid in somber peace, covered in our nation's flag. Taken with care and folded with meticulous detail, no step missed, no fold left to guess. The stripes of red and white folded just so, that enshrined in the field of blue, white stars showing too. Handled with care and handled with pride, presented in sacred manner to honor a fallen warrior. Given to a mother, a father, husband or wife, son or daughter, a brother, a sister. Given with utmost respect and inspected fully, every thread and fold immaculately checked. Given as a token of a loved one's service to this great nation, that their sacrifice is not forgotten. So next time you see our nation's flag folded, three corners shaped, carefully guarded, until given to the next of kin to be placed in a home and a place to be remembered and honored, pause and pray for the family receiving, for their loved one has given their last full measure. But after hearing about those soldiers' death and the police officers, thought that'd be a fitting one to start tonight's poetry segment with. Well, Vanessa, a good thing I see what you're saying there. The school I teach at, actually has instructors that go to one of the state prisons here close by, and I want to say they teach electrical and HVAC to them. The thing that also probably, and I think there's one state that's got a, shoot, where did I read it? I'm trying to remember where I read the article. It's kind of a program where they learn a technical skill, but they also train them on how to establish a business. And I'm trying to remember the state that does that, because that is one of the stigmatisms attached to convicted felons, that they're convicted felon. A lot of people are iffy about hiring, so a lot of them either resort back to what they used to do, or fight tooth and nail to establish a business. That's kind of the other direction that many of them have to go. I mean, I don't have the perfect solution, but yeah, you make a valid point, Vanessa. Technical school is a great way to go, especially the trades right now being so short of things. Well, Warsaw, it just depends on what they were convicted of. It really would depend. If there's more for misdemeanor crimes, I think they should be able to get a waiver to get in. But you've also got to, again, that kind of ties into, you got to look at the history of the person and their mental makeup too. What caused them to do it? But that's been an argument too. There used to be a time where a judge could tell an individual, you either go into the service or you go to jail. Because usually by the time they get to jail, they've already done something pretty major. But there could be a gateway there, I guess. It'd take a lot of thought. You'd have to really look at what MOSs you would make available to them. I would think, but well, depending on what they stole, Warsaw. When you say theft, that's a wide range of things. Was it grand theft auto? Was it intellectual theft? Was it theft of money? Whatever the case may be, and it'd be good, something to have a good debate on. To say if someone had a series of misdemeanor crimes where they did, I'd say less than a year in prison for, like, say, at the state or county level. There ought to be a way that they could have their record expunged to qualify them for military service. That, when I was a recruiter, I had a guy come in. He had a rap sheet 3 pages long. He got all the charges when he was 18 and 19 years old. And from that time on, he had a clean record. But because of the nature of some of the charges he's had and the amount of them that he had, and the fact that he had done 6 months in county lockup for all of it, the Army wouldn't take him. And there was no amount of waivers that the Army would give to let him in. Maybe that's something that the military needs to look at revamping, but that'd be something the military would have to do. And of course, they'd have to take to the Department of Defense and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and a whole lot of stuff. It could be done, though. I think it could honestly be done. So, we're up at 9. Now we're down to 6. But anyway, folks. Like I said, watching the news today, though, I just thought there was going to be more to the rally in Virginia than what really amounted to. I'm not disappointed. It was kind of, what's the word I want to say? Anticlimactic. In a lot of ways. But again, part of it too was you had a governor in Virginia that made this out to be like it was going to be some type of violent group coming in, and there's going to be guns everywhere and people shooting and people arguing and fighting. From what I understand, it turned out to be a very peaceful event. some of the other comments are. But yeah, and then you had one of the state senators, Amanda Chase. You know, she'd made a statement the day before on, you know, the fact that the governor might have put some plants in the crowd to stir things up. But all in all, it was good to see that the whole thing remained peaceful and nobody did anything stupid to jeopardize the actual intent of the movement. And for that, that's very commendable on all parties involved, because there's some couple of the segments I was able to catch, you know, showed some people. One guy who's claiming to be a libertarian, but he was trying to start something. The other crowd just didn't give him the time of day. Yeah, and I think, Kyle, that was what they were trying to do, but it backfired on them. I think it really backfired on them, which, like I said, I was glad things didn't turn out any worse. But and then tomorrow, the big impeachment scam begins. More waste of our taxpayer dollars. I hate to get on this subject, but you know, it's going to be a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Wish people would just get over it and move on. But it is what it is at this point in time. But other than that, well, on a lighter note, went out, did some shooting yesterday with some friends. We're shooting my Taurus snub nose 38 special. Hadn't shot it in a while. Using just some soft nose Remington lead ammunition for target shooting. Kind of get back in the swing of things. That's kind of become my everyday carry piece. That little Taurus 38 special. And Taurus just released a new one, the Taurus 856 Defender, which has a 3-inch barrel and 6-round cylinder. So I'm kind of torn between it or the Taurus 692. Clovis, how you doing, friend? Yeah, I think it did too. But I just got this gut feeling, Clovis, that the Virginia State Legislature has made up their mind. They're going to push these laws through, and they're going to do what they want to do. No, Warsaw. When I came in '87, the Army was starting to phase out the 45, and we're starting to phase in the M9. And I was never in a position to carry a sidearm until I went to Iraq on an advisory team. So, but my last unit in Germany, all the staff and the commanders and the first sergeants and the sergeant major, they all had 45s. But there were several units in our division that had the M9 9mm. So, that was about the last of them that phased out shortly after 91. They phased out, and everybody had the M9 9mm. Yeah, Clovis, and yeah, it is sad. And the worst part about it is, and again, it goes to how Virginia is set up. I mean, and that's why we have the electoral college at the national level. But this is a sad example of how a majority or large population centers can affect policy and procedure for an entire state. Most welcome, DPFX 99999. That's a catchy handle if I've ever seen one. Glad to have you with us. But I'm afraid it's going to come down here to North Carolina, Clovis, before long. but only time will tell. Only time will tell. Who sang that song? Now I got that stuck in my head. Now I'm going to have to go look that song up. Crap. One of those days. I've been watching Indiana Jones all weekend. Started yesterday, the Indiana Jones Marathon. I love some Indiana Jones. I like it because each movie's got a different pistol. I really like the one in the first movie, which I want to say was a Smith & Wesson 45 revolver. Or was it a Colt? See, I got to go back and look now. But I know in the third one, he had like a Webley revolver. Cooking you and the dog some dinner, Kyle? What are you cooking? If it's good, I'll be over in a little bit. Might have been Asia. Well, they had one like that. There's one I'm thinking about was an old power ballad from a heavy metal group, and I just can't think of the name of the band to save my life right now. And the moment I said it, it popped in my head. Bologna sandwich. Okay, got you. You still drinking on that coffee I sent you, or have you gone through it all? Free Spirit wants a sandwich too, Kyle. Oh, close. The band Asia, back from the 80s. They had quite a few hits. What was one of their hits? Oh, now you got me looking up songs, Kyle. Thanks, bud. Oh, artists. Heat of the moment, and only time will tell. That was Asia. That was Only Time Will Tell. There's another one, and I can't remember the full name of the ballad. Only time will tell. This is heaven or hell. Oh, but who sang it now? Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy all night. I'll let them copyright strike it all they want, Warsaw. Just a minor clip. Not like I'm making money off these videos anyway. Pink Floyd. No, we don't do Pink Floyd around here. I was never a big fan of Pink Floyd. That's just me, though. Just me. I like some Journey and 38 Special, Loverboy, Chicago. Chicago is a good band. Night Ranger was cool. I even like the collaboration that was known as Damn Yankees with Ted Nugent, Jack Blades, and Tommy Shaw. They only had a couple of albums, but they were pretty good for their brief time they were on the charts. Who else? Who else? There's a lot of good music come out of the 80s. A lot of good music. Tell me y'all tell me on here in the side chat what some of your favorite bands are. No, it wasn't Europe, Kyle. Even though I like the Final Countdown. I'm trying to think. I want to say it was Warrant. Was it Warrant? Shoot. Oh, well. But Europe had some good stuff. You had Final Countdown, Carrie, Cherokee. Those were all good. Then I like Still Heart. They were good. That dude could hit some high notes in his younger days. Now I got you thinking, Kyle. Ooh, DP Marshall Tucker Band. Now they're awesome. Uh, you know, good old Marshall Tucker Band. Leonard Skinner's cool, Warsaw. I like a lot of their stuff. Bad Company, Eagles. There's another band I used to like listening to. Bon Jovi. I like Bon Jovi when I was a kid. Believe it or not, I like. Oh, there you go, Luke Dog. Somebody had to get him in there. Hank Williams Jr. Awesome. White Snake. Yep, love White Snake. Phil Collins is cool, and I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Queen. Oh God, yeah, I love Queen, especially their Highlander track. If you ever watched the movie Highlander and the TV series Highlander, you know, Queen did some great soundtrack work for it. And they also did one for Flash Gordon back in the 80s. I thought was cool. Kiss, yeah, I like Kiss. I wasn't so much of an Ozzy fan, but I could dig Kiss. Billy Joel, now I like Billy Joel too, Kyle. He had some good tunes. You got to listen to "Still in Saigon." Not "Still in Saigon." But there's one that Billy Joel does where the drums come in and sound like a bunch of Hueys. What was the name of that song? "Still in Saigon" was done by Charlie Daniels, but Billy Joel did one just honor Vietnam veterans in. What was the name of that one? Oh, I can't do Megadeth. That's a little too hard for me. What's funny, the lead singer of that band actually turned his life around and now saved. David Bowie was okay, Warsaw. I really wasn't much into a lot of his stuff, especially his 70s stuff where he was the androgynous. On a DP, now you really hitting it home there. The Highwaymen with Johnny Cash, they were good. Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, and Willie Nelson. They had a couple good releases. Traveling Wilburys. Anybody remember the Traveling Wilburys? They were good. So now we're something we all get along and talk about music. Oh, the Ring of Fire, yep, Johnny Cash. Burn out, down in a ring of fire. Oh, Female Blondie, yep, Joan Jett. Give me a second, Plois. You really hit one there. There's a couple of them out there I like. Bonnie Tyler. Yeah, Bonnie Tyler. Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah. Willie might not be around too much longer. Yeah, Kyle, remember Merle Haggard? Another female singer I liked. I liked the Bangles. Bangles were hot. You had the Go-Go's. They were pretty good. Belinda Carlisle. Belinda Carlisle, when she went solo, she had some real good hits as a solo artist. Amy Grant was good. Amy Grant, her duet with Peter Cetera was awesome. Who else was there? Bon Jovi got him off at the start. It was a female heavy metal hair band. Any other day of the week, I could think of who they were. Vixen. That's who. Vixen. Vixen was good. Roxette. If anybody remember Roxette, the duet Roxette, that girl had some vocals. She could belt them out. I always liked her singing. But yeah, Bonnie Tyler, one of my favorites. A few Warsaw. In my day, the big one was Striper. And the two brothers in that band, one of them had a set of vocals. I mean, that dude had a set of pipes. Doro. Oh, nah, that's one I hadn't heard in a while, DP. Yeah, Doro. I remember Doro. Yeah. Luke Dog, you and I both had a crush on Blondie, I think. Yeah, Striper, Warsaw. If you Google it, they were a Christian rock band of the 80s. So was Petra, Petra. But I've never really been too much in the contemporary Christian groups. When it comes to gospel music, I kind of like the old Southern gospel. Just kind of what I prefer. But Alabama. Now that was one of my favorite bands. But what was awesome about Alabama, they did a wonderful crossover with Lionel Richie, and the name of the song was Deep River Woman. You got to check that one out. That one was just phenomenal. But Alabama had a lot of great hits, and growing up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, it was not that far from Fort Payne, Alabama. And some of their songs, they talk about one of their songs. You hear them talk about Lookout Mountain. Well, growing up in Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain's like in the backyard. You can see it from just about anywhere in town. Likewise, Tennessee River. Never heard of him, Kyle, but I'd check him out. But when I was stationed in Germany, we'd go to Nuremberg on the weekends, and you could catch just about any genre of music you really wanted to there. There was one place we'd go to. It was a heavy metal bar. It was the first, last, and only time I ever got into a mosh pit. But Nuremberg, around Nuremberg, is kind of where the Scorpions got their start, if you will. That's another good band, Scorpions. Love to hear them play. But back to Nuremberg and the clubs, you go to another one that played more pop music. Then you had the discotheques that played the techno pop. Then there was the R&B and blues bands, and there was the hip hop bars you could go to. They even had there was one place in Nuremberg you'd go to. You'd walk in. It was two clubs in one. The bigger outside played a variety of music every hour. Everything from hip hop to hard rock to soft rock to pop rock, disco, etc. They did about every hour they change it. But then inside it, they had a smaller club that was dedicated to country western. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. George Jones, good too. Now, I'm going to throw one on you. Polka music. Now, y'all going to laugh, but I like hearing a good German festival polka music. And part of that would have to stem from the fact that my mother, God rest her soul, loved to watch Lawrence Welk. So when I was a kid growing up, Mama got her full hour of Lawrence Welk, and then Daddy got his full hour of hee-haw. So we had the ballroom music, which Dad liked listening to, because sometimes Lawrence Welk would play the World War II era big band music, which my dad fought in World War II, so it brought him a lot of memories and nostalgia. Then Hee Haw would come on. So then when I got to be a teenager, Solid Gold came out. So it was, Saturday nights was all about watching music when we were growing up. Warsaw, I don't know if polka's Polish or not, but they play a lot of it. They play a lot of it at German Fest. And they play a lot of cool tunes, and I kind of like listening to it. Glenn Miller, yeah, I love some Glenn Miller too. I guess you could call polka European. But here's the thing: a lot of Mexican music involves polka. So, oh, you papaw baby, are you papaw baby? You want some attention? Is that what it is? Papaw talking too much, not paying you enough attention. Rebel dog wanted some lovin's. This is papaw baby right here. He's a good boy. You say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Look, you're on TV. See? One up here. Come on. Oh, good land alive. You are a big, oversized lap dog. You know that? Well, sit still so they can see me and you together. Him's a good feller, though. He's a good feller. Appreciate it there, DP. Kyle, appreciate it. But yeah, a lot of stuff I used to watch too. I mean, in the 80s, now growing up in the 80s too, had a lot of great TV shows too. Had Hunter. I loved Hunter. He was cool. Had the A-Team. Had Simon and Simon. One of my all-time favorite was Magnum PI. Love me some Magnum PI. You know, the new series is okay, but the original Tom Selleck can't be beat at all. Ain't that right, buddy? Ain't that right? Okay, thank you. Airwolf was a good show. Ernest Borgnine and Jan Michael Vincent. Yep, I remember watching a lot of Airwolf. Cagney and Lacey was good. I actually like Cagney and Lacey. Dukes of Hazzard. That was pretty good. I don't know. Some of y'all might remember it. Some of you don't. BJ and the Bear. Now, I thought that was kind of cool. You know, a guy driving a truck all over the country and got a chimpanzee as his sidekick that he brought back from Vietnam. I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, and the truck is the semi he drove was real cool. So I liked it. Lobo, which was a spinoff of BJ and the Bear, was pretty good. If anybody ever had a chance to watch it. Wow, we're 42 minutes into this thing already. Yeah. He's a big baby. No, you could knock everything off the table, though. But anyway. Cool, Free Spirit. Oh, yeah, Kyle, the Fall Guy. Fall Guy was awesome, too. With Lee Majors. You also had, hang on a minute. I'll tell you what it was now in a minute. Came out in the end of the 80s. Kind of similar to the movie Platoon. What was the name of the movie? There was China Beach, but there was another one. Tour of Duty. Tour of Duty was good. Yeah. Go down. Go down. Okay, Dave. I don't need your turd cutter in the face. Okay. That's all right, Kyle. I'll take that as a compliment, brother. Is that right? All righty. Well, go ahead and read the last one for the night. He must have known. Knight Rider was good. MASH was good too. That's another one I liked was MASH. I even liked Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, believe it or not. Now, I wasn't much of a Three's Company fan, though. Oh, yeah, Ghost Riders in the Sky. Ghost Riders in the Sky. That was a good song. But the soldier I was, and it goes to read, from 1776 to the present, served I have, the soldier I was. Called to duty is what I did, taken to places forever etched in my mind. From battlefields here to those abroad, boredom and monotony at garrisons at home. In wars popular, patriots answering the call to those we would forget, wishing they never were fought. The soldier I was, proud to be, serving our nation with prestige and dignity. Honored and humbled to have been, and honored still to be an old soldier. That is me. It was once said, old soldiers never die, we just fade away. What a fitting end. The soldier I was, it was what I was meant to be, my life's ambition. That was the soldier I would be. The time I spent in service to our nation, being a small part in something larger than me. The soldier I was and the soldier I would be. This is who I am, an old soldier. It is easy to see. Thought I'd share that one with you tonight. That's going to be going, those two are going to be going to the new book, which I'm probably going to start putting together next month. Y'all still haven't given me any suggestions on what I need to title that new book. So I'll expect some comments in my videos this week or some emails to my email address on what you think I need to title my third book. Might even do a competition, and whoever's title gets selected get a prize. What do y'all think about that? For the 8 of you that are viewing. Let me see what else we got here. Get out of that for a second. Okay. We'll do, Warsaw. I will, Kyle. I'll check that out. Cool. Well, Warsaw, that's part of the military. I mean, if that's a major concern, look at the reserves of the National Guard. Woes and Prose. Hey, I kind of like that one, Kyle. And Chloe, yeah, it is. I mean, being away from home, it does have an impact. DP, thank you for joining us tonight. Glad to have you. You be safe too, my friend. Until next Monday. You're most welcome, DP. You're most welcome. Glad to have had you. Warsaw family is, but I'll tell you this. If you make the decision to serve, and you do go serve, the people you serve with becomes a surrogate family. And it's like any other family. There's going to be members you like. There's going to be members you're going to despise. But it's also, a lot of it is what you make of it. But if being away from family is going to be per se an issue, try the reserves out for a few years. At least then, when you're away, it's only for a few weeks at a time. And you're back to 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, unless, of course, there's, your unit gets mobilized. But even then, at the end of that deployment or whatever, you're going to come back home, go back to regular, drill schedule. The difference there is you don't draw full-time pay and benefits when you're in a reserve status. So just go into that with your eyes open. But that's an option. You can still do that, still serve your country, and then still also be home with your family most of the time. Initially for me was the first 3 weeks of basic training. First 3 weeks of basic training were the hardest. It's when I missed my mom, my dad, my girlfriend. Not that she missed me very much, but I missed her. Yeah, a buddy named Jody got a hold of her while I was gone. But if you've been in the military, you get it. If you don't, I'll tell you in another video. But yeah, after those 3 weeks, you move on. But I found out through my time in service, you make new family members while you're in. And I guess the hardest assignment I ever had was my tour in Germany, because it was the last time I saw my dad alive was at Charleston Air Force Base when they put me on the plane. Oh, you'll get over that, Warsaw. Just don't look at it when they stick you. You'll be okay. The thing is, you're gonna get those shots anyway. Get them done, get them knocked out of the way, and then you get boosters every year for certain ones. Ones I hated, that was the biggest thing I hated about basic training was the vaccinations. Because when I was in, they were still using the old air injection. Man, you barely move that thing, slice your arm wide open. But then later on, you'd have to get boosters. And I hated the doggone yellow fever shot. To this day, because they give it to you right in the back of the bicep, right about in there. And it hurts. Man, it hurts. Louis. There we go. Y'all can see me again. Yeah, Kyle. I mean, and everybody's a little different with it too. We had guys that when they got to basic training were told they were going to have to get all their teeth pulled out. So not only they were doing basic, they were having to go back and forth to the dental clinic. They'd pull half one day and half the next. It is what it is. Yeah, it closed the cattle cars. I remember those. I hated that when they come to pick us up from the reception to take us to our actual basic training location. But again, you get over it. You just deal with it and you keep moving on. Just part of life, part of growing up. But if the likes of me and Kyle and others that are out there, Lois, that we can all get through it, you get through it too. And if you got a strong family back home, you make sure they write you every day as soon as you get a writing address. That's the other thing, mail call. Mail call makes it worthwhile. Knowing that you got letters from home coming in, keep you going. But anyway. Well, folks, we are at the 55-minute mark. I know, right, Close? Felt like a bunch of sardines by the time they opened the doors and told. Well, I got to take it back. When I went, they brought a separate truck. They brought a 1/4 ton flatbed. And we threw all our stake bed truck. We threw all our bags in it, and then they put us on cattle cars. And then we had to go find our bags when we got there. No problems, Warsaw. No problems at all. Glad I could help. Yeah, we're at the 55-minute mark. So we're going to close this thing out for this evening. I'm glad everybody that could make it tonight came and joined. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. Glad to have all of you here tonight. And until next Monday night, God bless. Take care. Remember our men and women in uniform that are serving our great nation, both those in the military and in our law enforcement community, and our first responders, our firefighters and EMTs too. All of them have got some very tough jobs. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers along with their families. And again, like I said, God bless each and every one of you coming out tonight. I really do appreciate you when y'all join. Luke Dog, my brother from another mother, good to see you tonight as always. One of these days, my trips to Atlanta, we're going to get back together, Luke Dog. And I hope everybody has a blessed evening. Stay safe, stay warm, stay fed. And until tomorrow's video, take care. Until then, God bless. Old soldier out.